Good evening, Harlequin here, and welcome to another episode of HarlequinCasts Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Today's game is going to be another Newbie Tuesday style cast where we take a look at beginning or average level games and just kind of try to point out the things that they're doing right, point out what they're doing wrong or opportunities they're missing, and hopefully by the end of it all, we all become better players. It's important to note, by the way, that newbie is just a self-selected term. I'm not calling people newbie. I don't think it's a derogatory term at all. So I highly expect players to make mistakes in these kind of games, and hopefully we can all just kind of learn from it. So you may be asking yourself, hey Harlequin, I'm a newbie, I would like you to take a look at some of my games for Newbie Tuesday. Well, sure, send them on down. I've got a email address, HarlequinCasts@gmail.com. Send me the replay files, put the title as Newbie Tuesday, put that somewhere in the title, and give me a quick description, because honestly, I'm a very lazy person, so if you send me a blank email or if you send me a link to the file hosted someplace else, I'm probably not going to click all the way through on it if I've got a couple hundred replays to choose from. So send me the file specifically, give me the bare bones details, tell me what heroes were involved, what races were out there, that sort of thing, and just a quick synopsis like, oh, I'm a newbie player, this is my first ladder game, or I've played a bunch of games here, but this was a particularly interesting game. Some sort of summary like that at HarlequinCasts@gmail.com. That information is always available on the left hand side of my channel. And that'll work out. So let's take a look around the map right now and see what we've got cooking today. It's going to be Chaos versus Space Marines. Over here on the left-hand side, playing as this beautiful-looking kind of pink, shiny, metallic Chaos Sorcerer today, we have Mr. Memestream. He's going to be the blue left-hand side player. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have the Tech Marine being played by Yo Mom SPIZER. Let's get this started here and see what's going on. And already, look at what's in the production queue. Nothing by either player. How long is it going to take? We're at 10 seconds now. 10 seconds. And there we go. Memestream is going to win with the Chaos Space Marines first. And Yo Mom catching up here right around the 15-second mark. So let's pause this and talk about openings here. So the most important thing you can probably learn, by the way, is that your F1 key is always going to be bound to either your stronghold or your Chaos Temple or whatever your home base happens to be. So the first thing you should be doing at the beginning of every game, spam the F1 key and then hit the hotkey for whatever unit you want to build is. So for it's actually kind of convenient here for both Chaos Space Marines and regular Space Marines. C is going to be your weaker unit, so C will get you a Scout or it'll get you a Heretic, and S will be your Tactical Marines or your Chaos Space Marines. So what you should do at the very beginning of the game, each of these guys should be F1S, and then select all of your units, and then issue a move order, then F1 again, and right-click and put a waypoint out here where one of your guys was, wherever you want that gentleman to be following you next. That's the appropriate order. It's a pretty efficient way to go because this build time is the only thing that's going to be holding you back early game in terms of spreading out and capping more things here. Right off the bat, I noticed that it's kind of odd that Memestream is sending all of his stuff directly to the north here. Pretty much everybody on this map always wants to grab their natural power node here. There's a lot of good play happens early game around these power nodes, but that's kind of cool. One other interesting factor I wanted to point out here, and I'm even going to pause one more time to talk about this. So already I was talking about hotkeys for hotkeying your initial units when they come out here. One of the best tricks I learned about learning hotkeys, and this applies to any game whatsoever, it doesn't have to be Dawn of War 2 or Company of Heroes, whatever, it just works everywhere. If you want to learn all of the hotkeys, and that's the best way to speed up your play, play an entire game against, like if you're the kind of person who finds yourself using the mouse a lot when you get near unfamiliar abilities, or maybe as you get into tier 2 or tier 3, since you don't do a lot of buying at those levels, you usually only buy like 1 or 2 units, you almost always click on that unit. The best thing you can do is play a whole game against an AI if you want, it doesn't matter, where every time you find yourself moving your mouse down to the right hand side of the screen where you would normally have the abilities or whatever you're trying to click on, be it a Tech Marine ability or high explosive shot for your scouts or some tier 2 unit you're going to build, whenever you move your mouse down there, stop yourself, look at what the mouse is pointing at. In Dawn of War 2, it's nice because it always writes the hotkey on it. Visually, make yourself look down there with your eyes, read the hotkey, move your mouse back towards the center of the screen, and then press the hotkey. So just have that motion in mind. Every time you catch yourself using your mouse, look at it instead and use the hotkey, and do that for an entire game, and you'll learn a lot about how to speed up your play by doing that. So let's take a look around now and see where the captures are going. Again, I'm a little concerned that it looks like almost all of Memestream's units here are going towards the center. He's not putting any attention down here on the bottom, but that's fine for the time being. We can see that the Tech Marine is now out here engaging these Chaos Heretics here. It looks like he's going to have to back off, though. He's taking quite a bit of fire from these Chaos Space Marines. The Heretics are going to be able to swarm in around him. Honestly, when you see him kind of backing away and not retreating like that, that might even be a good time to use a Doom Blast there if you want to get some more damage on him. But in general, I would say don't Doom Blast against heroes. Here we have the Chaos Heretics now moving into the Tactical Marines down here. This is also going to be a tough fight. Chaos Heretics, there's a lot of them. They can do some damage, but you can see they've already taken a lot of damage moving in. Right now would be a great time again for a Doom Blast in retreat, I think, because they're Tactical Marines. It's kind of unintuitive, but they are awesome at melee combat. You can see right now they are just tearing up these Chaos Heretics here. Heretics never used the Doom Blast, took a lot of damage and had to get out of there. The Chaos Sorcerer and everybody else now is definitely going to do some damage, and the Tactical Marines are going to have to get out of there. So, but that could have gone a little bit better. Could have used those abilities a little bit better there. Already we can see some nice moves here by the Scouts. The Scouts went down south, capped everything on the bottom, and now are going up here and capping this power node. And that is really, really important. Again, take a look here at what SPIZER is doing. You can see he capped his natural power node and he immediately upgraded the power generators. It looks like the only power generator that Memestream has is this one way up top here. He hasn't upgraded it and he doesn't have his natural power node. He is just upgrading it now. It's a very hard position to defend. This is very far away from your base. It's much easier to retreat home and then walk out here and defend this if you need to defend it. A lot of good play on Seawall Frontier involves timing attacks against your opponent's generators. So pretty much the skeleton of a plan you should always have when you're playing Dawn of War is I want to build 3 units, I want to get some power, and then I want to do something. And on this map in particular, I think a great way to go is to build 3 units, capture some stuff, build your power, and then send all your units to the other guy's power supply. That's, you know, especially for newbie games, that's a great tactic for just like having a purpose in your game instead of just wandering around and reacting to whatever the hell point happens to be captured. Oh, and before I miss it, beautiful looking retreating hand grenade there from the Scouts, dropping a hand grenade to cover their path. It looks like they did 3 or 4 casualties to these Chaos Heretics there. That was beautiful. Excellent throw there by SPIZER. Just kind of a little cover there for the retreat. You can see here again, it looks like Memestream is going to be having a little bit of trouble capturing the power node up here. But yeah, that's all I wanted to point out was that don't miss opportunities for really good timing attacks. Just having a little bit of a strategy when you go into a ladder game can give you quite an edge over your opponent if they're just going to sit there and react to what you capture instead. This was a bit of a blunder here. He went ahead and attacked. So remember he had those Heretics with 4 guys left. He sent them into melee combat with the Tactical Marines. Oh, already a bad idea. 4 Heretics versus 3 Marines. Not going to be good. And then he detonated one of them. So it was 3-on-3. Really bad. He lost the entire Chaos Heretic squad there. Be very, very careful. If these are your first games, it's way, way better to retreat. Don't get too greedy. Don't think you need to kill everything right away. You're going to win this game through victory points usually, not through annihilating your opponent's army. So taking a look around here, though, you can see that did work out in his favor. He was able to overwhelm them with the Chaos Sorcerer, the Marines, and the Heretics. And I like what he's doing here right now. Memestream, you can see he's dividing up his forces. He just won a minor conflict. He's sending Chaos Space Marines to the north to cap this. He's sending Heretics here to cap that. And he could have sent his Sorcerer to cap this Requisition Point, which would have been really good. Requisition Points in 1 versus 1 mature all the way up to 30. They start at 10 and tick their way up to 30. So even if you just get a decap off and then these units finish resupplying and come out and scare you away, he still has to recapture it, and then it's back down to 10 for a little while until it matures back up to 30. So always be aware of capping those things. Again, in a questionable move here, Memestream has upgraded his forward power supply. Now, it could be that he's trying to be very avant-garde and maverick here and wants to have nothing but forward power, but it's much, much easier just to upgrade this one further back power, and these are just going to continue to be vulnerabilities for him. And you can see he's already going to be way behind on the power as a result. 44 versus 49. Actually, okay, never mind. I lie. They've both been spending enough of their power there. But in the long term, though, he could get way behind because of the fact that he's just being threatened so much here. You can see. Unfortunately, though, it looks like, okay, yeah, the Assault Squad is now here, and we'll see the Assault Squad is going to pound down right on top of this Chaos Havoc squad that recently came out on the field. They're going to instantly retreat. That's not a bad retreat there at all. I don't know why these Chaos Heretics, however, retreated. They definitely could have stayed around the fight for a little bit longer here. The Chaos Sorcerer is all alone and kind of being ignored there, getting a little bit of a special attack. but there are way too many units here right now. Double upgraded scouts with their sergeants pouring fire into this. He just needs to retreat. He needs to retreat. Always remember that when you're surrounded by units, when you retreat, you take extra damage from melee combat. If you're already in melee combat, you got to retreat much sooner than that. So that was an unnecessary loss of the Chaos Sorcerer there. So already, Memestream is quite a bit behind here just because he keeps losing units and having to spend resources on that. However, in spite of all of that, he is actually ahead in the Tier 2 battle. So that could finally work out to his advantage, having all these extra points. Just having more points, period. The fact that he has triple control over the generator, of the power nodes, did actually give him enough power to be able to hang on there. But still, I'd like to see some more safely placed generators. So that could be quite an advantage for him. We can see now the counterattack is coming back out. He's had a chance to retreat. Nice looking hand grenade there, but he got off of it. I think he just kind of felt why not use a hand grenade there. In general, though, save it for better targets. A hero, single hand grenade on a hero, not that awesome. The Chaos Heretics versus the Assault Marines here, they're doing a pretty good job. It was kind of bold of him to attack. If he could get better support from these Chaos Space Marines, he'd be okay. Or even use the Doom Blast and retreat at this point because he's really low. But it looks like he's going to win the staring contest. And yes, he just barely gets those Assault Marines out of there. Oh my god, very risky using the Doom Blast with like 2 gentlemen left in that squad. But it looks like he's going to get out of there in time. But taking pretty horrendous losses for both players. All of this focus fire from the scouts right now, hurting all of those Chaos Space Marines. And finally, we're seeing some extra power caps going on for SPIZER, who is beginning his Tier 2 battle. Always remember, by the way, Tier 2 begins at 125 power, so you want to try and time that as best as you can. 300 resources, 125 power. Keep your eye on that. Your goal should be to get to Tier 2 as soon as possible.